So this story is really about ambition. Hello and welcome once again to Dul Johnson's Creative Talks. This is the channel on which we help each other to improve in our writing, particularly fiction and dramatic writing. And we discuss other things that help writers either begin to write because they're interested and they have not been in it, or those who have been in it and require or need some areas of improvement. We discuss that, and therefore if you are a writer and you are onto this channel, if you have any questions, this is the opportunity for you to put them down, and so I can address what I can. I may not know everything, but there are areas of experience that we can share experiences. I can learn from you and you can learn from me. So please feel free, like the video, share, and pass your comments, as I said. Now, we've been discussing dramatic writing, and the idea is the continuation of the review of books that have touched my life and which I have shared with other people who have actually showed interest in going to read those books and probably to share with other people what they have learned from it. Stories are meant to improve our lives as individuals, not improve our lives in terms of put money in our pockets, no, but make us be more humane, make us to care about the world, to care about other people, to get in touch with, connect us with other people and other places, and so on and so forth. That's the idea in reading. And so writers, of course, are readers as well. But if we are going to write, then we need to write in such a way that we appeal to a large population. So this is why we have this channel, so we can, help each other to improve so that our work can go places. So I thank you for joining us on this channel. In this episode, we are going to discuss Macbeth. The previous one, if you were on, fine, but if you are new, we discussed Hamlet. And I did say that there is something that connects the two plays, which is why I chose them. Shakespeare is the playwright, and Shakespeare has a huge body of dramatic works covering tragedies, histories, and comedies. But I picked on the tragedies because if there's anything that can teach us lessons of life, it will be more a tragedy than anything else. If there's anything that can teach us about life, that can teach us lessons, that can help us to change our behavior or to look at the world differently, it is the tragedies that would do that. So first and foremost, I said they had things in common. Tragedy is the number one. But of course, there are three things that are common to the two plays. And I think that's common to almost all of Shakespeare's tragedies. But since I'm not discussing all, I'm not going to bother. But the other two things are women are involved in pushing the tragedy to its height and its end. And also, there is the supernatural, the ghost appearing in Hamlet. And there's something similar to it. In fact, ghost is also in in Hamlet. But even before the ghost, there's something else that pushes the story to its tragic end. So what I would like to do is first give a quick summary of the play, and then we can discuss the lessons that we ought to learn from it. So this is a play about an army general who is the main character. He's Macbeth. His name is Macbeth. The play, just like Hamlet, the play bears the title of the main character or the protagonist. So Macbeth is returning from somewhere with a friend, and along the road they come across 3 witches. Think about it, witches. What are witches? In Africa, we know about witches and wizards as bearers of what? Of death, of misfortune, of all kinds of everything negative. That is it. So Macbeth and his friend Banquo come across 3 witches, and the 3 witches prophesy that Macbeth is going to be king. Of course, there is king. There's the king of Scotland, whose name is Duncan, and so they make this prophecy that Macbeth is going to be king. But they also make the prophecy that Banquo's children are going to be kings, which is to say much later in the future. And so I think it's his children and grandchildren or something of the sort. But the center is Macbeth, who is going to be king. Now, so this story is really about ambition, what is called vaunting ambition, because he now begins to calculate plot, develop. He is highly interested in becoming the king already. And the witches did not say you need to fight your way or do something untoward or something evil to become the king. It's a prophecy. So maybe best thing is to wait to become a king, but no. Macbeth actually sends word to his wife at home, and the wife herself also immediately takes interest in becoming the queen. And so they plot to get rid of Duncan, and becoming the king becomes their preoccupation. Now, so Duncan visits Macbeth. He had returned from war, of course, and with the victory and all of that. And so, of course, there should be need for celebration and all that. So Duncan goes to visit Macbeth. And of course, he's going to spend the night there. And Macbeth sees this as an opportunity to get rid of Duncan and to become king, to murder Duncan and to become king. And like Hamlet, of course, he has his fears. And of course, he, begins to have doubts as certain supernatural things, begin to happen. He sees a dagger flying, all kinds of things happening. But his wife is, pumping him. even where Macbeth is expressing doubt and the feeling that because, the king actually loves him and he really shouldn't, kill the king. He feels very guilty if he was going to do something like that. But the wife, whose ambition is probably greater than that of Macbeth, pushes him to do it. And at some point, actually threatens that if Macbeth is not able to do it, and she actually calls for the spirits, the evil spirits, to possess her so that she can go and do it and so forth. And eventually, Macbeth kills Duncan. And when he kills Duncan, he becomes sorely afraid. And someone, I think it's Banquo, that is coming to visit, or some other officers were coming. And these are stories I read like so many years ago. So I can't remember the details fully, but the story is just what I'm putting across to you. Banquo takes the daggers that he used in stabbing Duncan with all the blood and goes to dump where by the side of the palace guards, whom they had actually met drunk. He and his wife had met those palace guards completely drunk. So he went and dumps the daggers by their side to show anybody that comes that they are the ones that murdered the king. Now, then eventually, of course, the person comes in, and the behavior of Macbeth actually raises suspicion. And because he goes himself, takes the knives, and also murders the palace guards. And then when he is asked, he claims that they murdered the king, and he was angry, he was furious. That's why he killed them. And of course, all of the action becomes quite suspicious. So problem begins from there. Now, there is unease. He cannot have a rest. His wife cannot have a rest. And Macbeth is always seeing, ghosts and so on and so forth. And his wife begins to, she actually goes wacko. She goes crazy. Eventually, of course, she commits suicide. Now, Macbeth remembers that when Banquo, of course, comes, he remembers that the witches had also said or promised that Banquo's children and grandchildren also are going to be kings. Now, he wants to be king, and he also wants his offspring to be kings. So he wants to get Banquo's offspring eliminated. And of course, while Banquo is in his house, he sends assassins to go and kill his wife and children. And I think they succeed in killing the wife and one of the, I think the heir apparent, let's say so, I think his first son or so. And of course, he killed Banquo as well. The people who went to kill, that's right, Banquo as well as his wife and son were killed. So he continuously or constantly sees the ghost of Banquo. He becomes terrified. Now his wife has committed suicide. What is he going to do next? He goes back, to meet the witches. And then they fortify his so-called courage and tell him that nobody will be able to kill him, that unless the person is not born of a woman. And so he now feels confident and begins to, rule with all kinds of impunity and whatever. And he's feeling nothing can happen to him. One of his colleagues, Macbeth, has gotten angry with what Macbeth has done and how he has ruled the people. So he gathers an army to go and finish Macbeth and free the people or take over, whatever. And so they had told him, the witches had told him, that nobody can kill him except one who is not born of a woman, and that he can only be killed if the trees of Dunsinane begin to come. In other words, trees to move from wherever they are to come to where he is. And that again, he thinks it is an impossibility, right? Trees don't move, trees don't travel. So when Macduff got ready to go and finish him, the soldiers actually disguised, they cut trees, branches, and held them. And they were moving en masse. So it actually looked like the forest of Dunsinane had started moving towards Macbeth. Okay, in the description there is a hill between where he is and where Dunsinane is. So the trees were coming, and so he got ready for the battle. And as far as he is concerned, even if the trees of Dunsinane come, as long as it is a human being that is coming, he wasn't going to die. So Macduff comes, and there is a battle. And what happens? He boasts to Macduff, of course, that he cannot be killed by anybody that is born of a woman. And of course, it turns out that Macduff was not born in the natural way. He was born through cesarean section. So he wasn't born of a woman in the natural way. And that is how Macbeth gets killed. So his wife is gone, he is gone, Duncan is gone, Banquo is gone, and you can see the palace guards, and of course there will be other casualties, from his side. So this is the tragedy. Now, so let's come back to the lesson that we learn from this. First, the deceit. While Hamlet was able to set some traps to Jack to be assured that this is what happened, even though at the end of the day he did not carry out the action because it was too late, he had wasted time. So his own was prevarication, the waste of time, the taking the decision, changing his mind, trying to do something, changing. In his own case, it is the vaunting ambition that once he mounted it like a horse, or once it mounted him like a horse, there was no coming down, right? So when the witches said those things, he did not set any test. He did not check. He did not, as far as he was concerned, the witches have said it. But are the witches angels, or are they carriers of evil? Those are things a general in the army should have checked, or any wise man should have checked. But he fell for the trick, right? And he did all of those atrocities. And he went back and got that assurance. So ambition, they say, is, vaunting ambition is what causes the downfall of many people who could actually become great. Greatness is built gradually. And it is built by people who persevere, who walk, through the ranks to become what they want to be. If you are in business, for example, and you want to make good in business, yes, it is an ambition, but you have to work hard, to climb through the ranks to get to where you want to be. But if you choose that you want to do that in 2 days, of course you are going to crash. If you want to do that in 1 year, of course you are going to crash. It is a slow process, calculated process, that goes along with wisdom and search for wisdom. It is not a decision that you take out of foolishness, out of, how do I put it, a swollen head that wants to be, somewhere without having to work or suffer to get there. That's what has happened to Macbeth. That is his own tragic flow. How many people have seen their destructions in life because they cannot check? Somebody has said, or take for example, there are people who, somebody comes to them and says, we print money. I can print $20,000 for you right now. If you have 20,000 naira, I can do it for you. And they don't even bother to ask the person, if you can print $20,000 for me, why don't you print for me? I said, why should I give you 20,000? They wouldn't even think about that, right? Because they want to become a millionaire in 1 day. So that is what vaunting ambition can cause. Now, so we go back to the other side. You see, in Africa, that would be a different kettle of fish altogether. Or in Nigeria, or even in my Tarok community, you have a wife. Even in their own culture, the wife is supposed to be a helper. Now, so, if a wife is forcing you to do something wrong because of her own selfish ends, and you do it, you are not a man. So you see, Macbeth relinquished his manhood to his wife, who was actually calling the shots. Should that happen, your helper should help you to reason, not to push you to do the wrong things. But because both of them had vaunting ambitions, they couldn't see reason. Now, think about somebody who has come to your house to honor you, And not just an ordinary person. An ordinary person comes to honor you. You shouldn't, treat him with all the respect and honor that you can give him. And this is the king. And then, even though you have the doubts, and you know that there is hell waiting for you, but because of that ambition, you couldn't tell yourself, this is wrong. This is humanly wrong. How could I kill somebody who has come to honor me? How could I kill my friend and his children? How could you do that? So, these stories are meant to help us see. The first is how our weakness and lack of wise decision can lead us to our downfall, and how vaunting ambition. So in the case of Macbeth, it is how vaunting ambition can destroy your life. And it does not only destroy you, of course, it becomes a fire that destroys many other people. And what has happened in the destruction or the killing of the king, of course, is throwing the kingdom, into chaos. And you who did it, you are not going to enjoy the rule either. That is a terrible, tragic flaw. So thank you for listening. I do hope that you have learned some lesson from what we just discussed. A vaunting ambition is not something anybody should advise you to go into. And if your wife is the one that is going to do it, I suppose you should call yourself foolish. Neither should you encourage your wife, to build a vaunting ambition that can destroy her and destroy you at the same time. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, like and subscribe, and please share this. And if you have questions that you need me to address or any comments, please put them in the box below. Bye-bye. I see you in the next video.